Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting. If anyone in the audience requires a headset for Spanish translation, please raise your hands and a device will be provided to you. Si alguien en la audiencia requiere unos audífonos para que se les traduzca en el español, por favor levante su mano y se le va a proveer un dispositivo. Pero bueno, lo pueden hacer en cualquier momento de la reunión. Good evening. Welcome to the Palm Springs Unified School District regular meeting at the Board of Education. Today is Tuesday, July 8, 2025. We are so glad you are here with us, whether you are joining us in person or watching along on YouTube. Thank you for being part of tonight's meeting. I will now call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Cornett?
Here.
Member Girardi?
Here.
Member Irvin?
Here.
Board Clerk Jarrell? And Board President Espericueta.
Here. Next item is item 6B, Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Member Girardi. And please, after the Pledge of the Allegiance, remain standing for a moment of silence. And a moment of silence will be observed for Nancy Martin. Nancy Martin began her career with the Palm Springs Unified School District in 2000 and dedicated 25 years of service to the Palm Springs Unified School District. Thank you. Item 6D is the mission statement, and I will now read our mission statement in English and Spanish. All members of the Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and community to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacities, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapidly changing world. Todos los miembros del Distrito Escolar Unificado de Palm Springs estamos unidos en nuestro compromiso con la equidad. Creamos oportunidades de aprendizaje profundas y significativas, creamos profesionalismo e involucramos a los padres y a la comunidad para garantizar el éxito de todos los estudiantes. Todos los estudiantes se gradúan con las habilidades, capacidades y confianza necesaria para tener éxito en un mundo en cambio rápido. Next item is the item 6E, length acknowledgement. Our length acknowledgement will be read by our superintendent, Dr. Francis.
Thank you. The Palm Springs Unified School District acknowledges the Cahuilla as the original stewards of the land on which the Palm Springs Unified School District facilities now sit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work with the indigenous people in this place. We pay our respect to the Cahuilla people past, present, and emerging who have been here since time immemorial.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. Item 7 is a report of closed session actions. Claire Giroux, are there any closed session action to report?
Board President Espericueta, there are no board action items to report.
Thank you, Claire. You're right. Item A is approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any questions? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 9, board consent items. 9A, approval of meeting minutes for June 24, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Second.
Any question? A second? Okay. Please vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed.
Aye.
And item 10, special recognition. And 10A, the governing board wishes to recognize and commend the following employees of the month for July 2025. The classified employees, Viviana Castro Rocha, Educational Service.
We are recognizing Viviana Castro Rocha. She is our District Administrative Assistant for the College and Career Readiness Department. Viviana is an outstanding classified leader. She is the heart of our College and Career Readiness Department. She is creative, analytical, and highly organized. I admire Viviana's ability to really manage multiple tasks, handle difficult situations with a smile and a positive attitude. She is a great thought partner. She is the project engineer behind all branding and marketing aspects of our initiatives in our department and has been instrumental for the Portrait of a Graduate, including helping me to design our logo for this awesome initiative. Viviana, you are an amazing administrative assistant. I am really fortunate to work alongside you, and thank you so much for all of your support.
Okay, Gillian. Okay, Viviana Castro, and the employee of the month from the Educational Services Department. You would like to say anything for your family, or
Yeah, sure.
you have half hour?
Oh, okay, in that case, let me. I did write just a little quick something. I just want to thank everybody. This is awesome. Thank you so much. To my family, thank you for being here. Dad, your work ethic has shaped me to who I am. Mom, your kindness taught me to treat people with empathy. And I try to carry that with everything that I do. And to my husband, thank you for always reminding me to believe in myself. And to my colleagues, thank you for making work feel like I'm surrounded by friends. And to Will, Karen, Amber, Dr. Kovac, who's not here, and many others, your leadership has taught me more than you probably know. So I'm very grateful for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to congratulate you, but we'll take the picture together.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love your logo.
Para la foto, we're gonna have you guys. So there's 6 of you total now. So you 3 on this side. We'll have Viviana and. Okay. We'll bring one more. One of you guys come on this side.
Oh, with the.
Yeah, and then you just line up right in the middle. Oh yeah, you should hold that. I know. You're flex. There you go.
them all up. Bring the whole row. I don't care. And
Te voy a dar el micrófono. Y por acá. Okay, next item is item 11, public comments. Claire Guerrero, have we received any electronic comments this night?
we have not received any electronic comments.
Thank you. In-person comments. All comments are to be directed to the board, be under 3 minutes, and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. Board members do not respond to public comments. Do we have any member of the public who wish to address the Board of Education? Seeing none? Okay, thank you. And now we move to item 12, board member comments. Do we have any comments from board members? Member Cornett?
Again, I just want to welcome our new superintendent. I know you've had, what, 6 days?
6.
Good. Off to a good start. Also, I'm just looking forward to a very successful school year for the 25-26 school year.
Real quick, welcome, Marcus, to Palm Springs Unified. We wish you much success. We know you're going to achieve a lot here, and thanks for joining our team. You're welcome. That's all I got.
All right, so so I went on July 26th to the Young Creators at the Mary Pickford Theater. It's always great to see those students. The videos are getting better as they go. I want to say congratulations to Christian Sesma, I think that's his name. And so that program is with the Young Creators, have done wonderful things. Amber Gascoigne as well. So thank you for doing that. And I went to the AI conference on June 23rd. And so it was great to go to the first annual Palm Springs, the City of Palm Springs AI conference. It was really great information. As a district, we're looking to go into this future, and technology is at the ground floor. And so it's very important that we dive into this AI initiative. There was so many amazing things with the presenters and the different workshops to learn how to make our job easier. And what it was saying AI is going to do is it gives us the opportunity to have more time to do other things. So instead of looking at it as something that is taken away from humans, it said to look at it as more as something to free us up to allow us to have more time to be able to do more. So it was a great conference that I went to, and that concludes my comments.
It's said that you take care of the people who take care of you, and I would like you to be introduced to our interpreter, Martin. And Martin's right here. He's the other Martin, and he is the interpreter that helps us with serving our our needs as interpreting. So Tom and Martin and our new interpreter back here in our booth. We appreciate the people. It's summer and you're all busy and wanting to do other things. And we appreciate the people that came into the office, are working through the summer and still keeping the bones and the structure of the district in place. I also want to say this personal message to Dr. Funches. We embrace you. We are overjoyed that you chose us as your passion to work with scholars. We look forward to our future days for academic excellence and progress. We see your great big shoes filled with creative, innovative, and inspiring directions and goals. And thank you for coming to Palm Springs Unified. Okay. Also, the fifth graders who participated in Ringo Starr's birthday salute, the Changles from Agua Caliente, Della Lindley, Vista Del Monte, Bubbling Wells, helped to create a message to wish Ringo Starr 85th birthday, and it was just delightful seeing them do the solos. And they have blinking shoes. If you get to see them in person, they're amazing. And also coming back to our stores, our backpacks, school supplies, and getting ready for back to school. So before we see that all coming up to our students, I'm going to appreciate all the people who do Pack the Bus, the family engagement backpacks, the giveaways, the Rotarians, the service groups, the foundation, the churches, all the people that help to prepare our kids to come to school. And that's just in about 3 weeks, just a thank you before we get there. And if we could also help to make sure that every teacher has the materials that he or she needs, not only at the beginning of the year, but throughout the year at semester change, including, besides Williams report materials, copies, paper, rulers, markers, journals, pencils. If we could just help, like Ellen and the foundation, give those teachers gift cards, or some, even the parents bringing paper towels to school. The classrooms need that. We thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I would like to say that the superintendent functions are working, and we are ready for the next school year. And this afternoon, I had the intention to read, to use my time sending the message related to everything that is happening with immigration. But honestly, I'm practiced, and I can do it probably. But in general, the thing that I want to say the community is that we had the commitment, to ensuring and safety of our students. But also, I would like the school district to be, to found the ways when the parents try to contact the school district. I have one personal situation with a close friend, and I invite them to come to this building to get information, but they don't want to come. They don't want to leave the house. They want to stay there. And maybe we can find ways, to support them, maybe via phone, maybe via email, maybe sending the social worker to the house to provide the information that they needed. Because sometimes when they have those kind of situations, they need to prove that they have been living in the United States for a long time. In this case, is that this parent has been living here for 24 years, but he needs information to prove he has 3 children. All children have been, one of them graduated from the school district, another 2 is still student here. And I feel sad for that when they say that they feel afraid to come, even if they live 2 miles from here. And that is the only request I do, to continue letting them know that we are here to support in our best way, because it's something that is sad and is serious, and personally, I will do the best that I can. I know that the school district will do the same, and that is it. I'm right the history in detail, but I can read it this time. Yeah, but I technically can give in general the information. But yeah, to continue supporting the student because the new school year is coming, and we will see what will happen with the student at attendance. Okay, thank you.
Sergio, real quickly, I want to as well say welcome to our new superintendent. I didn't get a chance to say welcome. It's really important. You wouldn't realize how important your presence is and will be on this district. It's very important always to be the first. Just always remember that on this journey, you do whatever you can, and it's good enough. And good luck to you, and it's very important to see you up here.
Thank you. And I move to next item 13, superintendent report.
Thank you, President Espericueta. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start by, number one, saying I feel very welcomed here. I feel very excited. I'm actually happy and very enthused about joining Palm Springs Unified School District. And I want to thank our board for their trust and confidence in me to lead this school district alongside them at this time. So thank you, board. I appreciate your confidence and trust in me. I also want to give a shout out and thank our past superintendent, Tony Signoret, for his leadership in helping create the environment to make sure that people feel valued and appreciated. And that's what I've been aware of coming in my first week as superintendent. And I had the opportunity to meet many of our employees in our district office this week. Everyone from nutrition services, maintenance and operations, human resources, business services, and ed services, many people as I could. And what stood out to me was, number one, our employees' enthusiasm for being here in Palm Springs Unified. That was the first thing that caught my attention. I'm very pleased with that. And a big thank you to Sarah Phelps, our nutrition services director, who provided me an excellent tour of facilities. Even I had on a hairnet, right? and a net for my goatee. And you may see some of those pictures. Don't stare too hard at those pictures. Take a look at the other ones. But I want to say thank you to Mrs. Phelps. Job well done. During my visit with our employees, I also had an opportunity to meet with a porter. Her name is Jennifer Cortez, and she wrote a pretty nice article about the district and my leadership to begin here in Palm Springs Unified. So a big thank you to Jennifer Cortez. Also had the privilege of visiting some of our EXL summer programs, one over at Palm Canyon Theater Kids Camp and another at Raymond Cree. And what I saw from our scholars in the summer was them engaged in some very, very creative activities for dance, singing, music, and STEM. I had thought about writing my own song at that time, but I digressed, right? The kids had it under control. But shout out to Amber Gascoigne, right? Gascoigne, sorry, for her work in EXL programs. I also had the opportunity to begin building strong relationships with my executive cabinet team. Jeff Simmons, Clayton Hill, Joan Boyko, Julie Arthur, Monica Borrego, and Marion Bouchot. What an excellent team of individuals that I have the opportunity to work with, and I look forward to the work that we're doing here in Palm Springs Unified. I enjoyed a visit with the Adopt the Arts director, Lori Baker, at the Good Noise Studio, and I heard about the life-changing opportunities for our scholars in some of our schools, and I got a chance to see the work up close with our Changels choir. What excellent work they're doing over there, and I look forward to the opportunity. And then a few more. I had an opportunity to be interviewed by Mark Talkington of the Palm Springs Post. We had an excellent conversation about the community of Palm Springs and what he's looking to do here and how the district can partner with Mark. So I enjoyed that as well. I had an opportunity to meet with someone you all know, Mrs. Karen Johnson, our PSTA president. I was able to hear her story and share mine. We have a lot of things in common, and she's a comedian as well, if you didn't know that. So I'll shout out to Karen, and I look forward to working with her and Mr. Hill as we work together on several projects. And then finally, over the next several weeks, as our staff and scholars return, I will continue my entry plan, meeting with as many individuals across this wonderful district and this community as I can, our internal and our external partners, learning about what makes PSUSD great and understanding the areas of need that we have here and preparing for a comprehensive board report probably sometime in October so we can take a look at how we collaboratively move the district forward. I want to thank everyone for welcoming me. I want to thank our partner back there from the foundation. Job well done, good work. Thank you for your work here, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to the excellent work ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. And next, we move to item 14, presentation. 14A, security and disaster preparedness update. Dr. Funches, your introduction, Mr. Borrego.
Board, at this time, I invite Mr. Alex Borrego up to the podium to provide a update, an overview, and presentation of our SRO and RSO contracts for the district. Thank you, Mr. Borrego.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Good evening, Board, and good evening, Executive Cabinet. It is a privilege to be able to present an update on the SRO program for you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Borrego, Director of Security for Director of Security and Disaster Preparedness for the district. Starting here with our goal for the SRO program, as always, our goal is going to be to evolve and enhance student safety, right? But how we do that is just as important. So entering the 2024-25 school year, there was an emphasis on building those positive relationships with those students, right? And when I say building the relationships with those students, I'm speaking to the SRO. We want the SRO to have those positive interactions, not just interactions when they're in trouble or maybe when they're in trouble outside of school or trying to get information or help from the SRO, but to have those daily interactions, positive interactions with our SROs. So we also want to make sure that they're receiving their support that they need as well. And that all starts with communication, right? Begin with the basics. So we've implemented quarterly meetings with our SROs. Those meetings were held here at the district office, and in attendance in those meetings were my security administration team, as well as support from student services and our superintendent. In those meetings, we provided clear communication with district policies and procedures and priorities. We discussed MOU guidelines and expectations, and we reviewed our SRO matrix. This provided consistent space for collaboration and allowed feedback from school officials as well as law enforcement officials. Excuse me. To give us a better understanding on how we structure the role of the SRO, it's important to recognize the framework that we use. The model that we use is called the SRO Triad. SRO Triad is built out and developed by NASRO. NASRO is an acronym, stands for National Association of School Resource Officers. The model outlines 3 core values for every SRO, one being, in no particular order, one being that law teacher, the law counselor, and 3 being the law enforcement officer on that campus. Law teacher is when the SRO engages with students in the classroom or campus-wide. Law counselor is when the SRO builds a trust and provides support through mentorship and, if needed, mental health referrals. And law enforcement, typically when the SRO responds to incidents on the campus, but it can also deal with managing potential threats. And even stem to assisting in vulnerability assessments, safety assessments on a campus. The SRO matrix shown here helps us track and analyze interactions from each of the areas. So it helps us understand how our students are being served on a campus and making sure that they do receive that support that they need. And these matrix charts are collected weekly from our SROs. Now, when looking at this, seeing that we deal with 4 different law enforcement agencies: Palm Springs Police Department, Riverside County Sheriff's, Desert Hot Springs Police Department, and Cathedral City Police Department. Looking at the differences between last year and this year, you can see there's a significant rise and growth in the law teacher category. But overall, there's a massive increase in interactions that are recorded. What does that mean, and what do we do to get those numbers? So before we get there, there's been an increase in law teacher interactions with 881 from 2023-24 school year to the 2024-25 school year. In the law counselor section, there's been an additional 58 interactions, and in the law enforcement, there's been 152 increased interactions. The increase in the total interactions can be credited to several factors. First, during the 24-25 school year, we've implemented more of a consistent tracking and reporting practices across all sites by allowing the SRO to document calls for service outside of their station campuses, within, of course, the PSUSD. And we also placed a greater emphasis on proactive engagement, encouraging the SROs to be more visible, approachable, and involved in the daily campus life. Now, the renewal of the contracts for the school resource officer services are structured over a 2-year period, with each year covering a 10-month time frame, August to June. These figures reflect the services provided by all 4 law enforcement agencies. And if you look at 2024-25 in the school year, we paid a total of $749,147. In 2025-26, we are projected at $823,928, and that's a 10% increase from last year, with the total increase of $74,781. 2026-25 school year, we are looking at a total of $869,793, which is a 5.6% increase from the 25-26 school year at $45,865. And wrapping this up, what I wanted you to see here is what our interactions look like. We have our SRO matrix, we have our law teacher, we have our law counselor, we have our law enforcement officer. But what does that really look like? These are the meaningful interactions that are impacting our kids' lives daily. It really captures what this program is really all about. And it's about building that school community, those school relationships, to make our students, our staff, and our community feel safe. So with that being said, when the SRO is on campus and they become familiar, they're no longer just officers on the campus, but they become mentors, become trusted adults, and part of that school family. And this is the kind of foundation that we want to build on. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and open it up if you have any questions.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So here on the contacts and interactions that you have here, so these contacts that they've made, what was the results, or what was the what came out of these contacts, or these different law teachings and different things like that?
So the focus this year on collecting the interactions with our SROs, we don't necessarily know every outcome from them. What we wanted to assure that was happening and taking place is that our students were receiving the services that they needed. So if you see on there the law teacher, that tells us that they're dealing with the students on the campus. It can be an informal conversation or advice on, drinking and driving, stranger danger. It depends on what it is. We don't necessarily know every outcome for every incident, but what we want to focus on is that like I said, that the students are receiving that service for them.
And what would law counseling look like? What
Law
is that?
counseling, so that stems from everything to possible mental health referrals. So if a student's having a bad day or wherever the case may be, they may be able to refer them to mental health services, administrator, or even a security officer at sometimes. It could be anything from advice, right? Life advice. A lot of times, I know Palm Springs High School, Officer Ramos, she deals with a lot of our female students and gives them advice, daily advice on what to look out for. And so it just depends. A lot of it is informal, and it's just meant to help our students out.
And then also, do we have any arrests that were made from our SRO officers?
We do. I don't have a number for you. I can get that for you. I just don't have it on hand.
Okay, and so if you can get us the number of arrests from this year to last year,
Yes.
and see what the difference is, and also what was the result of the arrest?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Since we are so blessed with wellness centers in the triad and the law counselor position, could you tell me some examples of how our SROs work with collaborating and our wellness centers?
So that would be part of the referral part with that. They don't necessarily have a hand in the wellness center. However, they do have relationships with the staff that are running those programs. So oftentimes it's a referral or a conversation on the way to a mental, to our wellness centers.
So would the officers send a message over on the radio or by phone to say, I would like you to follow up, or are they in person?
Yeah, so usually it's a face-to-face conversation. Usually they would escort the student over there, make sure they're taken care of, checked in, and then probably some follow-up with administration after that. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, go ahead.
In addition, I assume we have 4 SRO officers, one at each high school and then at the continuation school.
Yes.
Okay. In addition to that, how many security officers do we have in our district?
So right now we have 55, and I do include the subs because we do use them often. But at the high school levels, it varies from 5 to 4 officers.
Did you say 55?
Yes, total.
Can you tell me, like, so they're at the high school, and then the middle schools have their own security officers, is that correct?
Correct.
And then how do we deal with our elementary schools with our security officers?
Great question. So we do have rover positions as well. So we have 3 security officers who are designated to be at the elementary school level. And we break them up into cities. So we have an officer that works Palm Springs. We have an officer that works Cathedral City and Thousand Palms. And we have an officer who works Desert Hot Springs area. In addition to that, we do have patrol officers who will respond to calls and needs for assistance on the elementary level as well.
Is the patrol officers included in the number of the security officers, or are they in addition?
They are included.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Alex, for your presentation. I'm just curious, you started off with, it's really important for these officers to build positive relationships with our students. Can you expand on that a little bit, and how do
Yeah.
we monitor that? Because your matrix seems to be more objective on what their daily tasks are and I don't see anything that really relates to building relationships on it.
So we wanted to start out with setting the expectation for them and let them know it's not about just being reactive to certain situations or daily issues on a campus, but being proactive. And through the quarterly meetings, we've expressed that to them, and that's where those interactions are being recorded on those in the SRO matrix. So seeing the increase from interactions from the 23-24 year seeing such a massive increase and having those quarterly meetings in a common ground of what those numbers mean lets us know that our children are receiving services, not just from the campus, but also from our SROs. So we can always fine tune and we can always get specific on getting more clarification on outcomes of those interactions, which as we go through this presentation, ideas are popping in through my head. So that would be something that we can look to improve on and have an actual outcome and more specific numbers for you on that.
Yeah, I would think it's difficult to measure, but if there's some way we could evaluate how successful they are in building positive relationships with students, that'd be really important information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I'm just curious to go back to the up cost in the per year.
Yeah.
What do you what would you think is the reason for this up cost? And then also, is there an ability for the cities to cover some of these extra costs that we're paying?
So I know in the past, to answer your second question first, I know in the past there has been some working with the city to cover some of the costs for the SRO. That isn't anything that we reached out for this year. But to answer your first question, I know that the Police Officers Association are currently going through negotiations, and with negotiations comes increases, and with officer salaries throughout the years become an increase. One thing that I obviously noticed was the large increase from 10% to for the 5%, right, 5.6. So I believe a lot of it was front loaded to make sure that the 2026-27 year was taken care of. But that is something that, yeah, we can look at in the future. I remember one of our cities working with us to provide some assistance with that, and that could be something that we look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, considering that we are going into our budget cuts and funding is definitely important to us, and we definitely keeping an eye on that. As the price continues to go up,
Yeah.
We need to look at some sort of a way of asking them if they'll be willing to compensate that. And for, I didn't hear, but is there a reason why we didn't ask for them to cover some of the costs this year?
No reason. The last renewal for the contracts, we did a year renewal. That isn't something that we reached out to them during that time. And leading to this renewal of the 2 years, we didn't reach out to them or any of the cities for assistance in payment.
And so a follow-up to that as well. So you're basically saying that it would be better for us to put them in a 2-year contract. That way we can lock in a price for 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
I know. Thank you, Alex, for your presentation. And I have just one question related to the cost. What is one reason that is different prices? The cities charge more, another cities charge less. Is they don't have one same? They cannot offer the same price, the lowest one.
It'd be nice. Unfortunately, no. And to give you a clear answer on that, I would have to go out and get that answer from them. But yeah, I would love to have a low base number if we could.
Just curious about why they have different prices.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think it's because each city and the county negotiate their rates directly with their police officers.
Oh,
So some cities have to pay more, some cities pay less, and that's why we have the different rates.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Got another.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I was just going to say it's pretty glaring. I think it's $538,000, I believe, for Palm Springs and DLA, and I believe that Desert Hot Springs is like $338,000. So that's a huge difference, and so to not know what the reason that negotiation, even if they are negotiating that, I think that we possibly as a district should go back and negotiate and say, you know, that's almost $200,000 of a difference. That is a huge amount of money that we're spending for that. So you got a question?
I thought that was two people when you talked. You said Palm Springs and MSJ.
But the same thing goes for Desert Hot Springs and Edward Winslow.
Oh, I think it's just one person there, but I don't know.
So going back to that, Palm Springs does take care of Desert Learning Academy as well as Palm Springs High School. So that is one school resource officer who on contract covers both schools. No, typically our Cathedral City SRO will cover MSJ.
So, and the same thing for Winslow and Desert Hot Springs, it's only one officer?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't, that's a large discrepancy for me.
I just have a comment. As I was looking through the slides and reading them, I also looked back and found an emergency procedures guide. It's an 8-page guide. I think you maybe knew when you brought the guide into us and explained it to us. Is that going to remain for the new year, or is this guide for emergency procedures going to be sent out? I don't know if it's on the website, but for new teachers especially, and in light of some of the natural, weather that's challenging.
That's a great question. So I believe it was approximately 3 years ago is when we put that out, and the prior, it was an older version. So you're talking about the colored flip chart? Okay, yes. So we have one in every single classroom. Annually, we'll work with our principals just to make sure if they need any more, then we would go out and provide them for them as well.
And the training to go over those procedures, I would imagine would come from leadership at each school.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Thank you.
Good. No more questions? Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Now we move to item 15, board action items. Item 15A, approval of monitoring report governing policy, operational expectation, communicating with the public, OE9.
And board for OE9, or Operational Expectations 9, communicating with the public, I introduce at this time Joan Boyko and Marion Bouchot to present that information to you. Thank you.
Good evening, President Sperqueta, Board, and Dr. Funches and Cabinet. I am Joan Boyko. I'm the proud coordinator of Communications and Community Outreach, and I will be starting my 26th year in October. Kind of crazy, but I still love coming to work every day and doing what we do to make sure that our constituents hear everything they need to hear and should hear about our school district. I'm here to report on OE9, communicating with the public, and I'm just going to hit a few high points this evening. And I'm also going to try to talk a little slower than I have in the past year or two, in deference to our interpreters, because I was told you drove them crazy last year. So I shared my notes, and I'm going to try to talk just a little bit slower. You have the full report along with an added appendix providing more in-depth information on several components. I'm not going to review each indicator, but rather hit the highlights of evidence. Please feel free to stop me along the way with any questions you may have. Number one focuses on providing timely information and opportunities for input and two-way dialogue between the district and our constituents, with the goal of building understanding and support for district efforts. There are 10 indicators in this area, and here are a few highlights. First, the Superintendent's Advisory Committee includes a representative from each school and met 4 times during the 23-24 school year via Zoom based on group attendance, which resulted in better attendance than meeting in person. Kept trying, and most of the group said, we prefer Zoom. I get it. They have their kids in the other room. They're multitasking, all that. We will try again for at least, they need to meet our new superintendent in person. So we will go for at least one in-person meeting and probably continue on Zoom for the others. Topics included a State of the District from Board Member Cornett, Budget and Measure S recaps, LCAP presentation, and input on our career, and input from LCAP, Career Academies and Pathways Overview, and our cell phone policy input. Secondly, our board members presented 13 states of the district to various community groups. Additionally, we had our legislative breakfast in October and a community state of the district on October 17th, and we will continue those events with dates to be determined. I routed emails that come through our info and webmaster email addresses. The number continues to decline every year due to a very successful chatbot system that we have, has very high engagement. A total of 2,571 questions were asked, and that was down from quite a few more last year. Reason being that we started to take the individual chatbots from the pages down because we're preparing for a new website that's coming very soon. So once we have the new website up, each department and each school site will have their own customized chatbot. So if you go on to, let's say, Bubbling Wells Elementary, up will pop a Bobcat and say, I'm your friendly Bubbling Wells Bobcat, how can I help you? Which is really cool. And you, of course, you guys see that all the time now on a lot of websites, and you actually probably look for them now. We were on the ground floor of that. We're the first school district really to have that, and it's really taken off. So I'm very grateful for it. And one of the best things for us as staff is the amount of time and emails and responses we don't have to do because the bot does it for us. So it's wonderful. D, our podcast, You Learn Something New Every Day, is uploaded weekly with subscriptions available on iTunes and Spotify. And a portion of one show is also broadcast on the Alpha Media radio stations on the second Sunday of each month. I host the show, and I have interns who produce the show from the Data Academy at Cathedral City High School. We record at Cathedral City High School studio and on Zoom when necessary. Haven't missed a week in 12 years. Very proud of that. And hot off the presses, there is a new Fox Sports station that just got bought. I had a meeting with the owner and was talking to him about internships for our kids, and we started talking about the podcast, and he said, I want you to have a presence on our station, and we'll give you a full half hour a week. And so we're working on that. So that's pretty cool. That's to come this fall. We have about a dozen parent advisory committees, most of which are facilitated by the Family Engagement Center. They provide an opportunity to share district information and resources and answer questions. You have a list of those in the report. Though most of our site and district flyers are now shared through Parent Square, we've kept Peach Jar for our community flyers, and our Peach Jar subscribers have remained steady. Our average is 1,218 subscribers per school, and it's well above the state average of 765 per school, and more stats are available in the report and also in the appendix. A little over a year ago, I negotiated an opportunity with NBC Palm Springs for us to be community contributors twice a month. Our digital media specialist, Mary Bouchot, produces and presents these packages on the topics of our choosing. And this past year, our previous superintendent also did an in-studio monthly interview with Telemundo on topics of our choice, and I am working to get some kind of similar platform for our new superintendent. You don't know that yet, Marcus, but I'm working on that. Yeah, you have to learn Spanish, just kidding. Okay. And speaking of our digital media specialists, you have no doubt noticed the vast improvement in our district social media and the increase in number and top-notch quality of our district videos. This is all thanks to Marion, who's been with us almost 2 years now, and don't know how we ever did without her. Marion will give you some information on the final 3 indicators in this area of focus.
Good evening, Board President Espericueta, Dr. Funchess, and Executive Cabinet. Feels crazy to be up here again. I feel like I was just here a year ago, let alone, I just told Joan the other day, I feel like you just texted me back when I was working at KSQ, and it's just gone by so fast. So really thankful to be here again and tell you guys how much we've grown on our socials over this past year. So we're gonna kick it off with our 2 main platforms that we're on, Facebook and Instagram, as far as when it comes to social media. So for our followers on our Facebook page from last year to this year, rather, we increased nearly 9%. And so during the past year, we really saw a lot more. So on Facebook, it's a little different from Instagram. You're able to post links, right? So that's where we post the Changel's video that Madonna referenced, or our NBC clips that we do. So on there, I'm able to track how many people click on those links, and we saw more of a 9% increase in those links. So that's what we call engagement. When someone engages with a post, that makes the post reach further out. So we're not just going to post. We want to make sure that those posts are quality enough to make sure that more people see them. And then let me see where I lost my place right here. For Instagram, we increased our following more than 17% in the past year. And our engagement on there, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is our 2nd year in a row improving the engagement 100%, which is really good. Instagram and Facebook are a little different as far as who we see on there. You tend to see a lot more students on Instagram. It makes sense. So anytime we celebrate our students, we post their faces, their friends, the ASBs, all of those events that I'm really lucky to go to, that's where we get a lot of engagement. And so I always tell Joan, like we always want to post things that they love to engage with, and our students, goes without saying, they like to see themselves on our feeds. So that's where we see the most popularity on that. We also do our regular appreciation days and months. So, for example, Pride Month was in June, and we posted about that. I know here in Palm Springs, we also have our November Pride Month. Coming up, we have Hispanic Heritage Month. So we want to make sure that we make those regular graphics that not only recognize those days and months when they come, but make sure they stick to our branding as well. And it's not just limited to those cultural or diversity recognitions. It could be for Nurse Appreciation Day. And usually that's a great place for people to drop some love, some shout outs for any particular staff members that it applies to for that recognition day. And I know that Joan touched on it, we did those bilingual monthly superintendent videos with Tony, both in English and in Spanish, and we saw a lot of success with that. I don't know if in prior years we ever had that much consistency, at least like face-wise, video-wise, seeing a superintendent so often. So we got a lot of positive feedback on that, especially it being bilingual, and we're hoping to continue that with Dr. Funchess. I know you don't speak Spanish, but subtitles exist, and we will make those available to everybody, and we'll get those videos continued because we saw so much success on that. Moving on from our social media, we're going to Parent Square. So Parent Square, we have a total of 99% of students' families are contactable through Parent Square. So that means they can get calls, texts, and emails. We love Parent Square also because they have an app on your phone. So School sites should be telling parents at orientation, hey, download the app, this is how you get connected. And that is honestly just a step closer, actually a lot closer, that parents and families can be to their kids' classroom. So parents on social media, it's pretty general. There's only I can't get super up and close all the time, but with Parent Square, teachers have the ability to snap photos and videos and send it directly to parents through that platform. Right now I'm just gonna go quickly over how people receive their communication through Parent Square. 84% receive emails, 46% receive app notifications, and 17% are text notifications. And last but not least, they also have a great feature, an auto dialer for attendance, and that happens twice a day. So we know attendance matters. We want to get kids in seats, and that helps with our attendance goals as well. Great. Thank you guys so much for having me. We'll stick around after questions.
Any question?
I do not want to hear from my fellow cabinet members about how long I'm taking on this report. They're not even paying attention, so good. Okay. I'm going to move on. Thank you, Marion. I'm going to move on to number 2. This area of focus is around providing progress reports to the community regarding district results, programs, and operations. And we do that in 2 main ways. The first is our accountability issue of Your District News, which focuses on English and math test scores, graduation and dropout rates, LPAC results, reclassification rates, and chronic absenteeism rates. In essence, it's kind of taking everything that's on the dashboard and putting it into a report for the community. We used to publish these and print them. We just now do it online, and we do that every year. The report was published online in March. It's also posted on our website. The other way that we get everything out there that's going so well in all of our schools is a school news publication, which I didn't bring one, but you guys are familiar with it. And the August issue just came out online, and printed copies will be coming to all the sites next week. It's been very well received. It gets emailed to all the families through Parent Square. It gets posted on our website. It gets posted on social media, and it is like a brief synopsis of what's going on in all of our sites, and it is also in English and Spanish. And the other thing that we do is our tribute to our graduates. You have it in front of you. And a little different this year. We used to do this through the Desert Sun. Quite honestly, the quality left a lot to be desired, and also having it inserted, the circulation's not what it used to be, and it just really didn't make sense. Repro did this. I think they did an excellent job, and this week, every parent of every one of our graduates will receive one of these in the mail and be invited to pick up extra copies at school sites if they would like to have them. Number 3 ensures that all parents are informed of their children's progress. To that end, all teachers provide parents with quarterly or trimester report cards. Parent conferences are held at the elementary and middle school levels. Parents have access to parent view schedules, attendance, and grade information, and students access and submit assignments through their accounts. More stats in the report. For the 6th year, we surveyed our families through Panorama, and one of the areas addressed is school connectedness and a sense of belonging. Our participation rate increased this year, and a total of 95% of families provided favorable responses related to family sense of belonging overall, up from 93%. And you can see the other questions and results in the full report. Finally, number 4 is ensuring that affected areas of the community are informed about proposed and current district facilities projects. And I'll be short on this one because we didn't have any that that were big enough to to require everything that we do along those lines. I do believe OE9 is compliant in all areas and request your certification. I thank you for your time, and Mary and I are happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'm just curious. We were speaking earlier about AI, and let me say it again. Just curious about earlier we were speaking about AI, and just wondering if you have had any interests in branching out with AI and developing media with AI.
I'm going to let Marion take that one. I will speak for myself. I've just started, I went to the conference. I'm just starting to learn about it. It goes against me because I'm a writer, so I kind of, in my mind, think I can do it better. And I know that that's not necessarily true, but I'll come around. It took me a while to come around on social media, so I will come around. I know the value of it. I do understand the value.
Okay, so when it comes to AI, I've definitely used it in the creation of certain projects and things, but I always make sure that the tone and the brand of PSUSD always stays true. Because now that a good example of how I use AI is when I get a big press release from Joan and I'm trying to make it into a caption, and I'm trying to be quick, you can take that press release and you can say, I want you to make it into a caption that is from the point of view of our school district. So then I'll put it in, because I can't take a press release or maybe an article and put that just the way it is. It's not going to work for social media. You have to social media is a conversation. So you want to make sure you sound as human as possible, and AI doesn't always quite do that. I've used the AI enough now, and I'm sure a lot of us feel this way, that you can kind of tell if it's written by AI. And I never want anybody to read our posts and think, oh, is that written by AI? I definitely always double check the work. So I've only used it really for writing purposes, or maybe trying to come up with different content ideas, but that's really the extent, Madonna. Yeah.
This is a postscript, and it's thank you. You've changed this whole world of Palm Springs Unified in the last 9 years. You went from 0 to 1,000. And Joan, you probably could say that too. Absolutely. With the help of the team. Thank you again, on many different platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a team effort. So really appreciate everyone that's on board, and couldn't do it without all the team members up there. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I've definitely seen the improvement. I'm all on social media, so I see it a lot. You guys are doing a wonderful job. The press releases are great, and you're doing a good job.
Yeah, Joan or Miriam. Also, and I see that each school site have their own social media, their own Facebook, the sport team, and they share you the information that you provide in the central office information. Also, we have a lot of resources, like Mr. Ventura is here, the Palm Springs High School. They have a lot of followers. It's a good page, and thank you everyone for keep the community updated from everything that is happening, like everything that happened tonight will be in the social media very quick. Yeah.
It's posted already. So
It's already posted.
Joan has taught me anything. It's to meet my deadlines as soon as possible and to get things up as soon as I can. So we got it
I
up.
just would like to add, really thank both of you. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you, and you really do keep not only us informed that are up here, but our staff and the community. I mean, it's great to see how much positively has come out of your use of social media, and also all of the wonderful relationships that you have with our local TV and and for everybody that's in the media. It's really been really a tribute to both of your hard work, but it also puts the face of a positive face of our district out there. So thank you very, very much.
More questions? Yeah.
So you're gonna give it a positive stamp of approval then? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now can I get a motion to approve item 15A?
Move for approval?
Second.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, Miran. Thank you, Joan. Item 15V, approval of certificated and classified employees transition. Can I get a motion to approve item 15V?
So moved.
Second?
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 15C, approval of amendment number 2 to agreement number IN 000196, Commission on Teacher Credentialing Grant number 2021 TRI 10, extending the teacher residence implementation grant through June 30, 2031, OE 5.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15C?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15D, approval a revision to Board Policy 3311, bid OE 8.1. Can I get a motion to approve item 15D?
So moved.
Second?
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15E, approval of contract number CSPP 5374, PSUSD number IN 000227 with the California Department of Education for participation in the 2025-2026 Child Development Division State Preschool Program, OE 10.8. Can I get a motion to approve item 15E?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any question? No? Please vote. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Motion passed. Item 15F, approval of agreement number C00053A1 with Carnegie Learning Incorporation to provide the 2025-2026 live virtual tutoring program for the district OE 6.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15F?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Himo.
Second?
Any question?
I had a question about the contract starting July 1st, and we have no students in school July 1st, but the contract starts for 12 months, and we're only in session for 11, so just wondered, is that standard, or?
Pretty standard as far as fiscal year. Sorry. Yeah, it's fairly standard as far as most contracts start on July 1st, and it's pretty standard as a fiscal year.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 15G, adoption of resolution 2024/2025-06 of the Board of Education at the Palm Springs Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Palm Springs Unified School District Community Facility District Number 1, authorizing the issuance of special tax bonds as Palm Springs Unified School District Community Facility District Number 1 in an aggregate principal amount not to not to exceed 3 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of a fiscal agent agreement, a bonds purchase agreement, and a continuing disclosure agreement, authorizing the distribution of agent's official statement, and approving certain documents and action in connection therewith. OE 6. Can I get a motion to approve item 15G?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion pass. 5-0. Okay. Item 15H, approval of facility study session item and future project, OE 12.13. Can I get a motion to approve item 15H?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No? Okay, please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 59, approval of agreement number C000355 with the Cathedral City Police Department for the 2025-2026 and 2026-2027 School Resource Officer Program at the Cathedral City High School and Mount San Jacinto Continuation High School, OE 11.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15I?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any question?
Yes, I have a question. So if, at this particular time, if I'm interested in looking at the contracts for all of the schools, would I do that separately, individually, or would I do it right now, starting now?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, well,
I'm trying to understand what.
so if I do not agree with the 2-year term, but for certain contracts, would I do that individually, or would I, are we looking at this individually, or are we taking this together collectively?
Yeah, it's a
As a
Oh,
SRO?
you're looking at each contract individually.
Okay.
There's 4 separate contracts here.
Okay, so when that item comes up, I can. Okay.
You can, yeah, you have the choice to vote on it how you want to vote on it, or the board can choose to, do whatever, pull the item if you want, or,
Okay.
but then know that that officer would not start for the school year, because it would take, we don't have any other meetings before school year starts.
And I had a question about the language right here, the Cathedral City High School and Mount San Jacinto. That this don't include the Deseja de Espinal, that one is another officer. Okay. Okay. No more ready to vote?
We have contracts with each separate city, like Alex said, plus the sheriff's department for the Rancho Mirage High School.
Okay, so when the discussion comes up with the item that I want to have a discussion with, I will pull it?
No, you don't need to pull it. You have
Okay,
a discussion.
okay.
Yeah,
all
just
right.
like you would. No, it's not a consent. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were
Yeah.
asking. It's not a consent item. You don't need to pull it. It's
Yeah,
already
that's what I
here.
was thinking.
You just discuss it with the board and vote how you want to vote.
Okay.
So,
Okay, we have first and second. Then ready to vote? Please vote.
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye? Aye, okay. Motion pass. Thanks. Item 15J, approval of agreement number C0005354 with the Desert Hot Spring Police Department for the 2025-2026 and 2026-2027 School Resource Officer Program at Desert Hot Spring High School and Edward L. Westlaff Education Center, OE 11.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15J?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any question? Yeah, they want answer my question. Yeah, they give one SRO to Cathedral City and the other one for DSS. Okay. No more question. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15K, approval at agreement number C0005356 with the Palm Springs Police Department for the 2025-2026 and 2026-2027 School Resource Officer Program at Palm Springs High School and Desert Learning Academy, OE 11.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15K?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any question?
Yes, so this item here, the discrepancy that we have from Desert Hot Springs to Palm Springs and any other school that we have is too substantial for me. The amount is just, it's 200 and I believe it's 260-some thousand for the police officer. Our assistant, we're losing assistant principals. We're going into a budget cut where we're losing staff at a record number. And I don't see anything that I've seen in the presentation that shows support of us supporting that. I will be willing to go back and maybe talk to the city of Palm Springs and see if they'd be willing to negotiate paying a portion for the SRO officers. But that difference from $538,000 to $338,000 is just too much for me. I don't see why, even if the city is negotiating that. I think we are, as a district, should be negotiating that as well. And if they're negotiating that price, we should go back and negotiate on our side as well. So I will not be able to support paying $538,000 for Palm Springs SRO officer versus $338 for Desert Hot Springs and Edward Winslow.
I just have a question. There is like a $200,000 discrepancy. So it could be too that Palm Springs, and I don't know this for a fact, that Palm Springs Police Department pays more than other police departments and the sheriff. That could be a reason. Also, depending on how many years of service and where that police officer is on their pay scale, that could also be the difference. So I'm not sure. It seems though that it would be $100,000, well no, $200,000 over the course of 2 years, that if one police officer makes $100,000 or $200,000 more, that would be $100,000, I guess, a year more. That could be. I'm not sure if it's just that one department pays more than the other, and I don't have the answer to that. And
so I think even with saying that, that's wonderful, and you know, it is up to them to negotiate, but as well, us as a district, we have the opportunity to be able to negotiate. And so I think that we owe it to our district, and especially going into these budget cuts, to even, you know, kick the can around, to use a better word, to negotiate to have something a little bit better. The service that they're providing as a police officer in Palm Springs is no different than the service that they're providing in Desert Hot Springs. And technically, Desert Hot Springs has more students. Desert Hot Springs also usually has more suspensions as well as more expulsions. So there's nothing there that's explaining that besides the city of Palm Springs is just requiring more money. And I'm not in support of that.
I'm not arguing with you about it. It's just I wanted to know a point of clarification. If there's so much difference in their pay scales, and if that's one of the reasons that we're paying more. I know that
You're potentially correct. We can certainly ask for a breakdown of their costs to provide it to us. Neither Alex nor I were involved in the original negotiations for SRO contracts, and all they've done is just increase the percentage, you know, each year based on the original cost of that, is my understanding anyway. So, but we can certainly ask for a breakdown of that cost and work on negotiations and maybe even, you know, figuring out if the city can pay for some of it.
And going forward, If they are going up in price, that is something that we need to discuss and talk about, and maybe see if we can ask them to cover that amount that they're spending. We also got to keep in mind, this is a 10-month employee. So the law officer that is providing that position has 2 months to be able to work and still be working with the police department for 2 months and still have an opportunity to make more of a salary. So, you know, it's something that we really should look into. I love law enforcement. They're wonderful. They do a great job. They prevent, they actually react to a lot of different things. But our mental health is more proactive instead of reactive. So our law enforcement is more reacting to situations. And so we've done such a wonderful job with our mental health and all of the different things, and that is proactive. That is not reactive. And so I think that some of that money could go to some of these other departments, and especially to help us out as a district. We're always looking to improve our district and save our district and our constituents the money that we could to be able to spend for something else.
Well, we could certainly work out, try to work out a better deal on the contract. It's like you said, they're the only ones that can provide that sort of service as far as an SRO is concerned. It's within their city limits, and I don't believe the sheriffs can provide that within that situation. So they're the ones that we have to negotiate with, certainly. And like I said, I wasn't really a part of that, but I hear the board's direction in that regards. Perhaps Dr. Funchess can help me out with this a little bit in the sense that I don't know if can the board just vote on just approving 1 year of the contract and then we can go back to negotiate for the further ones. I'm not quite.
Can I have a point of just a clarification? Mm-hmm. Okay, this increase in salary comes about from the initial contract that we signed 3 years ago?
That's usually how contracts work, is you'll do an initial one, set up the price, and then based on, like you've said, whatever increases in pay there has been. I don't believe, and I'm not super familiar with SRO contracts, that they necessarily base it on the particular officer that's there. They probably base it on an average or an upper average salary of the officer, plus all the equipment that they have to provide, like the car and everything else that is involved. So perhaps Palm Springs is, charging us for the car, whereas that's why I would really like to get a breakdown of the contract, because maybe they're charging us for a vehicle, whereas maybe the other ones are just providing the vehicle as their part of this, is like you said. So I need a breakdown of the contract.
So these agreements, the increase is just from the original contract that we signed with them?
That's my understanding. We haven't gone back to, say, renegotiate the terms. This is our language and what we expect each officer to provide to us. And all they do is fill in their mission and their pricing and whatnot.
So if we looked at the initial contract, then their cost would have been more than the other ones at the initial, I would assume,
yes,
when we initially signed the contract.
Yes.
And so each year, they're just giving an increase of whatever that's based on their increase.
That's my assumption as well, just based on what I've,
So the discrepancy in salary really has been, or what they're charging us, has been from the beginning. And then each year, they just increase it.
That's what I suspect, yes.
Okay.
I was trying to go back and find the old contracts, but I wasn't able to do that.
But I think before, didn't we negotiate some of the cost?
At the beginning of the contract, we have a contract with them that I would assume states that every year they can increase the amount they charge to us. I don't know, I don't have a copy of the original contract.
I would doubt that. Each contract pretty much stands on its own.
This is an agreement, though. So is this a
These
new
are contracts.
contract?
This would be a new 2-year contract. So what happened was you negotiated for 23-24. In 22-23, you negotiated that price for 23-24. It was extended in 24-25, but because on the contract there was a 1-year allowable extension, and then this would be, essentially the same contract, but just, but renewed. I mean, there was an opportunity to renegotiate, I suppose, but we were never engaged in that. So
what's the risk, I guess? to go back. I mean, you know, we're facing budgetary challenges. I'm sure the city's facing budgetary challenges. But to go back and say, look, you guys, you're way out of line here. What we're paying the other entities, what can we do to work that out?
I think, as I'm listening, the first day of school is
August.
August 6th.
August 6th.
And then the next board meeting, if you can, someone can remind me,
Yeah, right. It's
the 12th. We run the risk of not having coverage from a security standpoint by SROs or the police department during that time.
Well, it could be a little bit longer than that because their board, their city council has to approve
Gotcha.
the contract as well. So, so both entities have to approve the contract.
So I got an idea.
It's written here.
Why don't we, since we're, we haven't done this before, so we haven't done 2 years before. Why don't we go back, do a 1 year, then come back again next year and look over this situation and then get all of the different things that we need together, because doing it as a 2 year, we have quite a bit of questions, or at least I know I do.
So I guess the only, again, risk there, and I know I said that, you know, I was looking for that guidance as far as the ability to be able to do that, because the contracts have already been approved by the city. So what would have to happen is if you only approved 1 year here, we would modify the contract, but then the city would still have to approve it. So I still don't know if they'd be able to start on time.
Yeah, Charlie. I know the school year is very close, but also I see the condition that we have, like the 16 and 17, that we can retain the conversation any time. Even we can terminate the contract, or maybe that Charlie said to make amendments and
True.
reduce.
Yeah, there's always those
But
terminations, yes.
Of course, it's a true situation to postpone the decision today, but we will start the school year maybe with no SRO, or to approve it and then start the conversation as soon as possible.
That's actually an excellent point in the termination clause.
Or dispute resolution.
That's it. Arbitration, mediation, and other forms of alternative dispute resolution, that we can meet with them in good faith and with their best and reasonable efforts to resolve any amendment that might be needed. And that
Yeah.
they wrote it right into the contract.
So we can amend, the agreement may be amended at any time by mutual consent of both parties, so we still have the ability to go back and negotiate, and may be terminated by either party upon 30 days written notice to the other of its intention to do so. So there's still the ability to negotiate and redo the contract.
So here's a question. So if we decided that we would amend it, would there be a lapse in coverage to where there's not SROs on campus?
I think that's a possibility. I don't want to speculate and give you a final answer on that. One of the things that I heard an idea tonight was approve as is and then go back to the table and begin to discuss our concerns with this contract, given the language that we see here. I don't want to put the district, and I know you don't want to put the district in any harm's way by not having or having a discontinuance of or not having coverage, right, at a school site. So I think that's what we're thinking about. We know that we need to be fiscally responsible, and we know that we want to take a second look at this contract, but we don't want to run the risk of not having coverage at our high schools. So in that case, I think the idea that was put forth here, and I'm sure there's discussion needed around that, to move forward with this and then have us go back basically to the negotiations table with this entity.
Okay. And
Based
so,
on this language, I would agree
okay,
with
and
that.
so after we do that, if they decide to say that they're not interested, then what's the next step?
You can give them a written 30-day notice that you no longer
Can
want
we
to be.
hide the SRO from another county?
I can look into that. I'm not sure if county can
Okay.
provide an SRO within city limits. Those are great questions that I'll just have to look into.
Do we have any other options for hiring an SRO from an adjacent district or a county agency so that we would know as a board what our options are if we should decide that we are not interested in keeping that contract?
So there's no other districts that are close that has their own police department. The closest one might be San Bernardino or Val Verde. So we wouldn't be able to get it from another district per se because they all contract with city or county. So I think our only option would be a county sheriff potentially, if you know having that ability to contract with us because it's still within Riverside County. It's just something we'll have to look into.
I'm sorry, but if Desert Hot Springs Police Department has a capable person that would be an SRO, would we be able to hire from a different department, not district?
No, I kind of understand. Yeah, I don't think that's the
You don't
case
think
that we
that's
can do that,
possible?
but we could check. Yeah.
Oh.
It doesn't hurt to ask, right?
I think we should try to do everything that we can. I know that the SR officer at Palm Springs High School has built relationships with the students
Yeah.
as well as the staff. So bringing in someone else from another city and taking that staff away that police officer away would probably, not be.
Yeah, and I apologize for not being a little bit more diligent on this. I was just assuming that it was just increases from those previous contracts is what I'm, used to in contracts in general, so of this type.
Well,
But
and-
we can
and-
certainly, go back to the table with
And
these
just
guys.
an FYI, I believe that the sheriffs are about 100,000 more as well.
Also, Charlene,
Hot Springs.
Yeah, the sheriffs have their own unique schedules that are usually higher than
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cities that I've dealt with.
Yeah.
Because we were in a sheriff's area in the last district, so.
and also, this not had to make a difference, but the relationship between the Spanish Springs School District and the Spanish Springs Police Department is good. Not only with also with the city. I don't know if will be one good option to start the conversation as soon possible about the cost.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Considering the whole, I don't know, maybe the cities confront also budget issues, but the education system we have a lot of extra issues that confronting with shortage from federal.
Yeah, well, the other thing I would say in this regards is hiring from another entity may cause communication issues between the Palm Springs City Police and whatever entity we hire for that. So there's those factors that you gotta think about as well.
I would like to do.
And I believe it was $18,000 a month is what they're getting.
Yes, and that's a lot just to do with the pay rates and so forth. The sheriff's department in general is just higher. But that's the next one, right?
Understanding, you think that these contracts really aren't based on an individual officer? They're just, they're not negotiated for,
I
like,
guess, yeah. Unfortunately, I like I said, I apologize. I didn't look back at past history, but that was my assumption as I was reviewing these contracts. I should have went back and looked at the prior contracts, but
so it's their best guess of what the officer is going to cost. Do they ever?
based on what their negotiations with the union is and the cost of living increases and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah,
So if the officer doesn't cost that much, do they ever give any of the money back?
no.
Okay.
No, yeah, they can. The officer has to have the particular type of training. I don't know if it's the same officer each year or not, or if it has been.
Well, according to this contract, they have to open it up to all sworn employees, and then they're interviewed by a board consisting of police department personnel and district employees.
And they have to have particular training involved, whether that's prior to or after the fact. I'm not sure.
No decision is made jointly between the superintendent and the chief of police.
Yeah.
So are you saying that our superintendent that was here prior negotiated or had the ability to negotiate that contract?
No.
Not negotiate, but to determine which officer. Oh.
see who will be.
I was just trying to explain to Karen that it's not based on an individual officer's salary.
No, I just wanted to make sure I.
Yeah,
had
what's
that
and I
understanding.
that's my usual assumption when I'm dealing with these contracts, that they're just increasing the amount from the original contract based on cost of living adjustments, inflation, whatever other factors they have, vehicle purchases, et cetera. Yeah, so that, that's kind of where I'm at. It's not usually based off any particular officer. It's just based off kind of that upper average salary, and then move on from there. Because the language in each contract is, it's basically it's our language. We've told them what we want. They just fill in the blanks.
So, the so the basic the outcome is we will agree to approve all of these contracts. Then we will go back in and negotiate with Palm Springs, and then determine what we'll do going forward. Is that what the consensus?
So yeah, you'll vote because you've opened the vote, so you'll vote on it, and then you have our word here that we're going to go back and talk to Palm Springs again, look to renegotiate. If not, then we'll discuss our options with the board.
Need to amend the motion?
No.
No.
So what I was thinking is, couldn't we approve this with contingencies of X, Y, Z, and then have that?
I don't think you can approve to amend the contract because
The motion approving with
contingencies.
the contingencies are already built in. Though it's required that you give them a 30-day written notice if you're going to cancel the contract. So you can still do mutual agreement, but you can cancel the contract with the 30-day written notice. Go ahead.
Thank you. So basically, you would be voting on contract as is and giving us direction to go back and then negotiate with this entity or this police department.
And how soon should we be expecting the response back?
We'll work as quickly as possible. I don't want to put a time frame on that department, but from our staff, we'll make sure that we begin that process starting tomorrow to engage them.
And so after will we come here and discuss that again? Will that item come back on our agenda, or is that something that we'll discuss?
So if we renegotiate another price, we'll bring it back to your agenda. If we can't budge on them, then we'll still bring it back, and get guidance from you on the direction you want us to go.
Correct.
Whether you want to keep the officer or whether or not you want us to write a 30-day written notice.
Okay.
You good?
Okay. Okay. Ready to vote? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion pass with direction. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Item 15 L, item 15L, approval of agreement number C0005379 with the Riverside County Sheriff Department for the 2025-2026 and 2026-2027 School Resource Officer Program at the Rancho Mirage High School, OE 11.2. Can I get a motion to approve item 15L?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any discussion or comment? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
No. No.
Next item is item 15M. Approval and compromise and release agreement number 25/26-01 between parent and district dated June 20, 2025, OE 6.1. Can I get a motion to approve item 15M?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15N, approval of expulsion case 2024-2025 OE-041, recommendation and finding of fact and conclusion of law, OE-11. Can I get a motion to approve item 15N?
Move.
Second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. In this item, we will vote in one vote. Item 16, superintendent consent item from 16A to 16J. Would anyone like to put an item for discussion or review? No? Can I get a motion to approve superintendent consent item from 16A to 16J?
So move. Oh, I'm sorry. Second.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 17, information. Item 17A to 17E, we're voting one vote. Oh, we're not voting. The board has received and reviewed this information. And item 18, suggestion for future agenda. Do any board member have suggestion for future agendas?
Yes, I do. I would like to say, now going on probably about 2 years, I have been asking for the project of having our board in the past and our superintendents in the past having some sort of honor or some sort of recognition and something created to honor our board members of the past and our superintendents of the past. Still haven't seen anything yet. I heard that it was working on it. It's been 2 years, and I still haven't seen anything put together to honor or pay homage to any of our former superintendents or board members. And I'm just curious to know when I'm going to see it, and I'm interested in it.
I would like to request an update on that SRO negotiation at our first board meeting in August. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 19, setting the next board meeting. Our regular board meeting will be here in August 12, 2025 at 6 p.m. Item 20, debrief. Any debrief?
Is it part of our board policy that when we suggest a future agenda item, that three of us, a majority, agreed for that item? Or am I thinking that's not right? That's right. Is that correct? So we need to go back for the future agenda item.
No, we can suggest, and any board member have the discretion to suggest.
But I don't know what our board policy says. Because in the past, I've thought it was three of us have to have that agreement.
So I'll make a motion to say that I agree to have the item for the August update on the SRO officers.
Go ahead.
Second.
Okay. I agree with that.
And then I would like to support the idea of moving forward for celebration of past administrators and superintendents.
In the past, we've been told that people have been working on this. And so I don't know if it was somebody in the district office, the superintendent's office. Can you?
So it started with the project when Charlie made the request. We made a Google form and we went all the way back to the beginning of time. And I personally was going through and trying to find the history of the district. It was a very large project to find. I think it also included every single principal, every single school opening, when the schools were established, when they were named, what board members, the superintendents, their terms, if they were president, if they were vice president. And then it became a very large project, and we hired on 2 kind of like consultants, so former employees, retired employees who worked with the district for a very long time. They had knowledge and history of the district. We were paying them overtime, I guess you could say, to go in. We got subscriptions to Ancestry, History, Archives. We bought all of those. They were looking into it. They even worked with Will Carr to get an update on the website. Currently, that's where it landed. The last meeting they had was sometime in the spring to go over a rollout process, how that information would be put on the website, how we would get that information out to the board. Would it be a book? Would it be a banner? Would it be a clickable option to go through? Oh, Catherine Finchie opened in 1982, and the first principal was such and such, and then a history after that. And in this year, it was this principal, and in that year, it became this principal. And that's where it stayed. Summer happened, changes happened with leadership, as we know, but it's definitely something that I will continue and work on with those 2 consultants, and if not, I will take on the project myself. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now we move to item 21, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.